But I do want to start, speaking of SCO Ducks, with Oregon 42, USC 27. It was not just one of the biggest games of the day, but one of the biggest games of the Big Ten conference schedule all year long. And while it is a double-digit Oregon win, while the final score is, a cover on the spread, boys, it was a ride. This game was quite an adventure, It was an Oregon Trail of a game. We lost players to dysentery. Our wagon wheel broke down. We had to, Tom, you know what happens when you have all the safeties falling apart? You've got to reach into your wagon and pull out a Kenyon Sadiq, because a defense without safeties has a real problem with a Kenyon Sadiq coming over the middle. Ducks 42, USC 27. Tom, why are you shaking your head at me?
That was unbelievable. That was a great Oregon Trail kind of thing there.
I hadn't even thought about it. I just thought it was an adventure of a game.
Hold that off the dome.
Yeah, I don't. You think I walk into this planned? All that's written on the dock is Oregon outlasts USC. USC had a lot of shots to get back in this.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't they?
Honestly, guys, if Oregon gets like the $4 or $5 million worth of payroll that they got in the injury tent right now, and they get those dudes healthy for the playoff, that Ducks team is really high up on the list. I don't want to play. Like, think about it. You're down to tackles, 4 and 5 in this game, because World barely played. Harkey goes down with a leg injury. Their swing tackle was already out for the game. You lose the center to a leg whip pretty early on in the ball game. You're down at least through your top 3, maybe your top 4 or 5 actual receivers, and you're still bullying USC at the point of attack, right? Like you're Maeva's going to get his, Mekhi Lemon's going to get his, but you baited him into a couple bad picks, right? Like, you played your game for the most part. Dante Moore, he was coming off the 90% completions game he had against Minnesota. He kind of just picked up where he left off. Man, I thought he looked really damn good today. Like, made throws, doesn't seem to get too rattled. Like, that's a good football team. I know that they have not played a crazy depth of schedule, but man, they kill the bad teams, and they're pretty competitive against most of the decent ones. And if they get like fully right, that's a team that can come out of nowhere win the whole damn thing. I really think so. Like, that run game is nasty. Will Stein, I didn't know, like, I was not familiar with your game from a run calling standpoint up until like the Iowa, right? Like to borrow the Shaq, and then they had to. I'm like, that's a lot of creative run game stuff they're pulling out here. And it's not like Dante is some massive, run threat. They run a lot of different concepts. They get a lot of stuff repped in practice. My guess that's a pretty efficient operation on the offensive side of the ball. I'm talking too much a little bit here, but like, I was pretty thoroughly impressed by them. I thought they looked really sharp.
Yeah, you mentioned the offensive line injury. So it's like when you look at their overall numbers in the run game, they averaged 4.4 yards per carry. So it's not overly impressive when you look at it that way. But it's the fact that, like you said, they were down like to their 4 and 5 tackles. And as a team, they still only allowed 2 tackles for loss in the entire game. Like, they were winning the line of scrimmage against USC's defense all season. And then the fact that the Trojans, they didn't have Ramsey, they didn't have their other safety. They were down to backups at both spots. Like, I thought going into this game, Oregon was going to lean on its run game simply because USC's run defense had been pretty bad all season long. Oregon looked across the field and said, oh, man, we're going to be able to pick these safeties apart. And that's exactly what they did. Like, they threw the ball all over this team for the most part. On the other side, though, USC was able to get a lot of the explosives in the passing game themselves that we hadn't really seen Oregon giving up. And we saw Oregon called for like 1,000 pass interferences this week, and they were called for like 5 of them last week against Minnesota. Like, they're getting grabby down the field in man-on-man situations. And it was very clear USC's game plan was, hey, Jaden, if you see man coverage on the outside, just chuck it up. Now, when it draws a pass interference or Jacoby Lane Moss is a guy, that's great. It's just that also gets you into situations where Maeva just doesn't really care that the guy's covered and the throw's not there. So he makes it anyway because he's been coached. Just you see man on man, we're going after it. So he threw, like a couple interceptions, just throwing balls he should not have thrown. So I think that kills you. You can't turn the ball over twice like that against a team like this on the road and expect to win. But overall, just Oregon won the line of scrimmage. They kept USC from putting them in bad spots, and they didn't let USC run the ball worth a damn. And it wasn't a blowout, but I also never really felt like USC was going to have a chance to win the game either.
The only time I did really is we were starting to have a little bit of that, like, and Tom, you hit on this a little bit, the Oregon pass defense when they face these good teams, twice against DeBoer, if we can go back, 2 seasons ago. This year against Indiana, it feels like they do give up the killer completion too often. I don't know if that's like a scheme thing, or maybe they're just not as good as some of the other units on this team. But I'm like, I don't know if that secondary is like that good. I would like to see a little more pass pressure on Jaden. Elijah Page is a stud. Obviously, he was out for USC. USC center goes down
too.
Right.
The bodies were falling. Oh, it's just between the injuries and the penalties.
I was going to say, what were there more of, injuries or penalties?
It was a disjointed game. There was a lot of things that were just, you were having to duct tape this together and figure it out. Explosive plays being called back. The penalty that leads you one way, but then the other team does a personal foul that bumps you right back to where you were to begin with. Just a clunky operation across the board.
A lot of the throws that Jaden got away with against Iowa were also made today, and some were completed, and then 2 were picked. Right? It wasn't like Oregon was blowing coverages. It just feels like guys get open against them. Not wide ass open, just like open enough to where a good quarterback, like a playoff quarterback, can complete it. But Dante's playing really well, I think. And if he gets those weapons back, because Sadiq, I thought Gary Danielson on the broadcast, I was thinking about who's the player comp. He nailed it, man. Kellen Winslow Jr., for those of y'all who are a little bit younger than us and didn't see him play when he was at Miami,
soldier.
Yeah. He was really, really good. Built, kind of similarly there. I think that's a scary team if they get going and get healthy.
We need to make a board of the teams you don't want to see in the playoff, and we'll just keep adding to it. And then on selection day, it's 12 teams. These are the teams that you don't want to see in the playoff.
You know what team you don't want to see in the playoff right now?
Who?
Wisconsin.
Yeah. Come on. You got to watch out. I do wonder. So Jaden Maeva home road splits. We talked about him. The road is where the turnovers come. That this is again where it happened. He was a little bit, it is the fault of the USC offense as a whole, but the fact that they were chasing the game and the fact that they couldn't run the ball kind of necessitated that you just got to take those chances. You were all afternoon. You had to let it rip. That was going to be the only way. He had been empowered clearly to go out there and take those chances. So, I still think that it fell in line a little bit with our expectations there. USC's offensive success early, I think was a little bit of, whoa, okay, here we go. But still, I think a lot of credit goes to this Oregon team. Are you concerned, Bud, I'll throw this back at you. They do have to play Washington, and they are still super banged up in this moment.
Of course.
Okay.
2025 football is, unless your name is Ohio State, and maybe even not, but unless your name is Ohio State, everything is very compressed. We know the top teams in the sport are about a touchdown worse than they were a half decade ago. So yes, definitely. I don't know what the score of the Washington game is right now. I don't have it on, but
3-0, I think.
I took their team total under on CBS HQ today when we saw the injury report pop. 2 offensive linemen, a couple pass catchers. That's going to be hard to score a lot of points, even though UCLA's defense is not great. So they're both dealing with injuries. I think the Oregon run game is super encouraging, though. Those guys run hard. They seem to get really good movement at the point of attack. I would guess they're going to get World and Harkey back. Maybe not for this coming week, but playoff. I don't know about the leg whip on the center. I don't know what the severity is of that, but you get a month for the playoff basically. So I would hope to get everybody back. It seems like DeCorian should be back by the playoff. I know Evan Stewart, they're kind of hopeful on. So you might get a full strength Oregon.
The other thing too is you talked about the secondary.
Did Harkey come back in?
Yeah, Harkey was not out.
He came back. Okay.
He came back in.
But Brandon Finney's a freshman. There's other young guys in that secondary. I think Oregon's secondary will only get better with experience. And that could be continued experience in terms of a deep playoff run, or that could be, hey, next year, watch out. They could have one of the top secondaries in the Big Ten. But right now, it is impossible to ignore that they've got that situation of super high talent, but very low experience at a place that will be tested against some of the best teams in the country. Hasn't been tested a lot by Oregon's schedule, but Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, these are the toughest assignments that you're going to get in all of college football.
Like the teams that you think are definitively better at receiver than USC is. I got one.
Ohio State is obviously the
Anybody else you're real sure that you would take over at USC group?
Alabama. No, I would put USC ahead of them. I'm just.
I think it's in the conversation.
Yeah.
I would take Ohio State. Snap call.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of teams you could face in the playoff who don't have receivers who scare you at all.
Isn't it great?
I mean, seriously, like you draw Texas Tech, not scared of that.
No.
Like Georgia Tech or Virginia or Pitt or.
No, I'm sorry, Georgia Tech. Yeah, we'll get to them, but
right.
Doors be slamming. I might actually do some sound effects around here, but no, that's those doors are shutting real fast for the bees. But yeah, I agree with you. I understand your point. Anything else from Eugene you want to be sure we highlight here?
I'm like not out on USC. They were in this game up until the punt return.
Yeah, but they're out.
I think they're moving in the right direction. No, they're out.
Oh, yeah. And thank you for saying that, by the way. I don't want to just like kick the can on everybody who's like, I want to still ask the questions that are important because guess what? In like 3 weeks, no one's going to care. So like, let's at least have these conversations as the seasons are sort of coming to an end. Let's take stock of where these teams are, what our expectations were. I agree with you though, but generally, I mean, don't F it up against UCLA, but yeah.
Right. I think they are
is a good season with this team.
I think they're moving in the right direction. They're very likely to finish with the number 1 overall recruiting class. I think they're like a tougher football team than they used to be, like physically. I know they got pushed around a little bit by Oregon, but I mean, so did Iowa, right? And nobody thinks Iowa's soft. So I kind of think I'm like in on Lincoln Riley's USC now in a way that I don't think I was 2 years ago.
So it's a good sign. Tom, any other final thoughts on Oregon USC?
My fear for next week, aside from the injuries, is for Oregon's sake, is I do like Dante Moore played well, but I still there's something about him I just don't trust yet. So going on the road to play Washington, I do worry. Like I feel like they're going to want to hand the ball off a lot in that game.
I always enjoy what the what the broadcast gets from some of these conversations with the coaches. Sometimes it's what you hear from the coaches about their own team. Sometimes it's what you hear from the coaches about the other team. While they did not reveal their sources, it was a little damning when Gary was talking about how Dante Moore doesn't like to get hit. Ooh, that's not a quote we like floating around on the scouting report. Ooh, yeah. They told us he runs, but he's not a threat to actually run. He just wants to extend the play. And then you saw those USC defenders just, through the whistle. Let's put some hands on him. Let's push him to the ground a little bit. I'm not going to say it one way or the other. Just not the best thing to be floating around on the scouting report right now. Quote, doesn't like to get hit. But, something to keep your eye on moving ahead with the Ducks.
Who's the QB that does like to get hit, though? Like Jaden Daniels. John Mateer.
Yeah, we're seeing this eye to eye. Who else? Real quick snap call. Who else on the quarterback list? Haynes King.
I think Josh Allen likes getting hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, we don't know that game from USC.
Gunnar Stockton.
Right? Like they also had CBS also had the Indiana game against them.
Oh yeah. Or hey, listen, we're all in on the Ducks. Let's go. Is that
Oregon is the CBS team of the season?
Mikey says Jackson Dart.
Find the lie.
Jackson Dart definitely loves to get hit, and his coach was willing to let him do it to save his job as many times as he needed to.
Baker.
Riley Leonard. Yeah, that's
Leonard.
a good
Riley Leonard, yeah.
Yeah, that's another good one.